Hello, welcome to my channel or back to my channel. And this is the first of requests that I've had. This is, assuming it works, also my third attempt at it. So here's hoping third time's the charm. I was always going to do all four Suicide Squads. I meant to do them before the release of James Gunn's, but that didn't work out. But I did Attack on Arkham, and one of the viewers asked me if I would do all three of them or the other three, and I said I would. So hopefully that person is still a subscriber and a viewer and will see this. And it's kind of exciting to be the first requested movie, and so other people who've requested things will know that you're on the list, and I will get to it. I promise. Suicide Squad Hell to Pay is not bad. I liked it better on this viewing. It has to be the epitome of why is Harley Quinn on this team, though. In Attack of Arkham, she actually had a point, a use, a reason to be on the team. This one, she's more pointless than the David Ayer film. And less likable than Margot Robbie. The performance was one of the worst also. I have nothing specifically against the character. Some of her fans, possibly, but not the character. And I really wanted her head to blow up the entire film. But she was never the focus. The actress, Tara Strong, has voiced Harley Quinn multiple times and usually does a great job. So I probably blame the writers more than her, because she wasn't comic relief, which if you're going to be an unimportant character, you have to be the comic relief. There has to be a point to you being in the movie if there's no point for you to being in the plot. And there wasn't. She didn't belong in the movie. She didn't belong on the team. She wasn't funny. She was obnoxious. So if you don't like Harley Quinn, you're a hater in this one. Christian Slater is one of my favorite actors. I've enjoyed him since the first Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and I've watched a lot of stuff he's done straight to DVD or straight to streaming as it may be now. I don't care. I never really understood why his career wasn't bigger than it is, because he's one of the best, I think. I think he's fantastic. Anyway, he is Deadshot in this, and when I watched it the first time, I was expecting more snark. Christian Slater does a lot of that dry, snarky humor, and Deadshot almost had no humor at all, I felt, the first time. And so I was a little disappointed. I felt it was a waste. I could have got anybody to voice him. But on this rewatch, I really enjoyed him a lot more, perhaps knowing that ahead of time. And because his performance in and of itself is very good. His voice acting is as good as any actual voice actor. So he does a great job as Deadshot. Killer Frost is back on the team this time. Less useful than Attack on Arkham, but more sinister. So it was cool having her. Copperhead, a unique addition. We haven't seen him before. And there's different iterations of that character in games and movies and comics. Sometimes it's a person who simply goes by the name Copperhead and has a few reptilian qualities. This version is a male. Sometimes it's a female. This version is a male who actually looks like a half human, half snake, horrifying character. And he was great. Captain Boomerang has become a staple of the team, and I have to say he was great. I was blown away that I actually enjoyed him in David Ayer's film when Jai Courtney played him, because Captain Boomerang is a dumb character. He never really did anything for me in the comics or anything else. And Jai Courtney, I don't think I'd really enjoyed anything. I didn't hate him, like it seems a lot of commentators seem to. They're always like, hey, you want to kill a film? Cast Jai. And I was like, what's with the hate? I mean, I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was horrible. But you cast a blah actor with a character, and you're not expecting much. But I don't know. I guess they just let him do what he wanted, and I thought he was very enjoyable. Then Attack on Arkham. Really enjoyed Captain Boomerang in that one. And he's one of the best parts in this one as well. In fact, when Waller is setting up her team, as she's coming to get them out of their cells so that they can be on Task Force X, there's a great 2 or 3 minutes of just Captain Boomerang in his cell and Deadshot off in his cell and character interaction, that's what I look for in movies. And it's one of the best parts of the films. It's very enjoyable and really kind of lets you get to know the characters a little bit before getting into the movie. And I enjoyed that part. This time around is the morally conscious Bronze Tiger, and he brings the meat to the story. If all of these people were released, if they were to escape Task Force X, they'd all go back to robbing, stealing, killing, just everything. Not Bronze Tiger. He is a repentant character. He is upset and, well, you don't get a better word than repentant over the blood on his hands from his past excursions. And so I think Amanda Waller actually puts him on the team to keep the rest of the team in check. She never says it. You're never really given a reason. It's never discussed. But aside from him being an amazing martial artist, and he'll be a great part in fights if they should run into other people, which of course it's a superhero movie, they're going to. He keeps the rest of the team grounded. He's not going to let any of them escape. None of them are going to bribe him. None of them are going to get him to partner up with them and turn on Waller or the team. It's just not going to happen. So even though Deadshot is the leader of the team, I believe she put Bronze Tiger on the team to keep everybody in check, which I like in that aspect. You also get sort of the closing of a mission at the beginning of the movie with a whole nother Task Force X. Some real random characters like Julie, Vertigo, I forget, Punchline. Yeah, the character's name is Punchline. As they go out, and Killer Frost, I think, was on that team too, as they and Deadshot go after Tobias Whale to get some other MacGuffin. And you actually find out that the MacGuffin was secondary. Amanda Waller was up to something else. And I do like that. This movie does paint her out to be more than just a desk jockey with a god complex. It really makes her a real character, a thinker, a planner, and so forth, which plays into the other team that she has. I want to say it's her team, called Checkmate or something like that, which of course, leads into chess, and chess is the thinking man's game. And so this makes her a smarter character, and I like that. In this, after that first mission, after it ends, we get a small little Suicide Squad title card and so forth, and then we go into the meat of the movie, which is this new team. And Amanda Waller is after her latest MacGuffin, and for personal reasons, and since it's personal, she can't use any government funded anything, weapons, vehicles, nothing. So they're on their own. So again, road trip. She takes these characters and sticks them in an RV and sends them on their way. And I have to say, this didn't need to be an action movie. I would have just watched a 2-hour film of these 6 characters road tripping across America, half fantasy with the DC cities that don't exist, half real America that does exist, and these just obscure characters like Copperhead and Bronze Tiger interacting. And there are some really golden moments. I won't spoil, but if you do end up watching this, you'll probably enjoy some of these really smaller moments that are unnecessary, but they bring depth to the characters and enjoyment to the film. So they team up, they go on the road trip, and later we find out that there's a duo that's after the same object that Amanda Waller is. This duo is the daughter of Victor Savage and her girlfriend, whatever, Knockout. Less said about that, the better. The characters are fine. They're kind of empty and hollow, but they're after it. And as they come close to getting the item, we find out there's another group that is also after it, and this is led by Zoom. And a lot of people probably know him, at least from some interaction with the CW shows. And he's the Flash's mirror enemy. And he's assisted by Silver Banshee and Roadblock. And Blockbuster, I can't remember what his name was now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, pretty sure his name's Blockbuster. which, just on a side note, is funny. You always have to have your super strong, near invincible, bulletproof character, which makes you wonder why a character like Deadshot is all that useful if his bullets are just going to bounce off this guy and things like that. But anyway, they're after the card for a reason that ties into the Flashpoint paradox. So, if you've seen that animated movie, you'll know why. And if you haven't, they'll explain it to you, which is nice because that's one of the irritating things about the connected universes of DC, Marvel, and any others is that they don't just acknowledge each other's existence, which would be fine, but sometimes they tie in a little too closely and then they mess up other movies when you're just trying to watch one of them. It's like, well, you have to know this from that movie and this from that movie and that from the sequel, and you got to watch this before the next one comes out, or you're going to be totally lost. And I'm kind of tired of it, to be honest with you. But anyways, he explains what the problem is if you haven't seen it and why he needs this item. So they all wind up at a male strip club because why not? And they each happen upon an ex Dr. Fate. And they're really going through the DC roster in this movie. This guy used to be Dr. Fate. He was given a helmet from this godlike entity for a short period of time until he messed it up because he's a total moron. And he explains to them that what Waller is after is this magical item. I don't want to spoil it necessarily because it's about half the movie till you find out what it is. But it's not like you don't find out till the very end of the movie, and it's not really a twist, but I hate to spoil it. So they find out what this item is and why everybody needs it, and that unfolds. And so there's a big action piece, and it escalates, and Vandal Savage, you find out why he needs it. No, I gotta go ahead and... No, I'll wrap it up real quick. This fight scene kind of ends quickly and it moves on. Everybody gets reset. Deadshot is upset that Zoom is involved because Zoom is an extremely powerful being. When you can move faster than the speed of light, you're faster than a speeding bullet. You know, you're a danger. And so he tells Waller that she did not prepare them for this mission appropriately. And Waller wants this item so bad that she makes him a deal he can't turn down. And it's not a, I'll blow your head off if you don't. She actually offers him something. And it's pretty incredible. That's how badly she wants this. So he goes off on his own to clear his head. And it kind of wanders into melodrama. But, you know, you got to pad the runtime. And it's not the worst way to pad the runtime as he's trying to connect with his daughter. Which in the comics usually... And in the movie, both of the other two movies, he has a good relationship with his kid. So it's kind of a bummer that they decided to go the other direction this time and make sure that, oh, you know, teen angst and upset and whatnot, instead of, I can't wait till daddy can come home, it's, you were never there and I hate your guts instead. So he's trying to reconnect with her, which leads to an interaction between him and Bronze Tiger that's really good character development. Especially after you find out what the MacGuffin is before this interaction, it gives it a lot of meat, a lot of weight. And that's when I really realized how great it was to add Bronze Tiger to this movie. I had notes, but I'm trying to skip past them because I don't want to give the spoiler about what the MacGuffin is for anybody that wants to see it. So now they're back on the trail. They do get to Vandal Savage, who was the victor of the last scuffle. And he's kidnapped Professor Pig, who was about to do surgery on Two-Face. Like I said, there's a lot of the DC roster in this movie. Professor Pig, being properly creepy, is in it. And they arrive there, and a next large battle between Vandal Savage and his army, Zoom and his team, and Deadshot and his team. And it's fantastic. You know, it's not just bright lights and bullets and stuff. There's character development, there's story, outline. There's lots of fists and bullets as well. There's loyalty changes. It's a fantastic build up and conclusion. Let me just say this before I get to the spoilers. This one is rated R. I don't remember about Arkham, Attack on Arkham. And of course, David Ayers was PG-13, and of course, James Gunn's wasn't. I don't think, and I've said this on my Venom review, but I'm saying it again here, these movies don't need to be rated R. Superhero movies are for kids. And putting in blood and guts, you can have people, they did it in the Batman animated series, they've done it in a number of cartoons, they've done it in a number of PG-13 ones. People get shot, a little tiny blood, or else none at all, just impact, and they fall and they're dead, and you're like, oh no, they're dead, that's so sad. You don't need blood and guts, literally, brains on the wall and stuff like that, to explain how violent an action is. It's lazy, in my opinion, and a lot of people consider it mature content. Well, we need mature content too. It's not mature content. It's adult content. It's not for kids, but it's not mature. The MacGuffin in this movie, the moral discussions and angles between Bronze Tiger and Deadshot and Killer Frost and Amanda Waller and Vandal Savage, this is mature content. Something that can be discussed, ruminated on. Different opinions and versions can be spent hours discussing. That's mature content. Blood on the wall, nudity, lesbians kissing, male strip club, this is adult content, and it's not necessary. It's probably, if that doesn't turn you off, you'll probably enjoy this a lot. I could have done without it, personally. And honestly, if they'd taken all that out, it would have been the same movie, and that's my point. And when it comes to mature content and adult content, adults still have Alien, Predator, Rambo, Terminator. There's plenty of that. Superheroes are for kids. And it just annoys me a little bit when they specifically try to hike it up to an R rating. I'll give you a good example, is The Crow. The Crow is a really good R-rated movie. That is a movie that is full of mature content as well as some adult content. And it would be very hard to tell that story in a non-R-rated form. Whereas this movie, literally, if you took out some of the content, the story would be the same, and it would be a lot easier to do. But I digress. You know how I do. So just throwing that out there. And that's it. For those of you that don't want spoilers. For those of you that don't mind them, have already seen it and want to hear the rest of it, just going to continue for just a couple quick minutes here. The card or the item that Waller is after, that Dr. Fate had in his magical castle of illusions and whatnot, is a get out of hell free card. And this allows so much theocratic conversation, moral conversation, fantasy conversation, because whoever has this card, when they die, they skip hell and go straight to heaven. Now, if you take your belief system out of it, which I had to in order to enjoy this, it still creates for a good conversation. Who created this card? God? Why would he create something like that and allow it to fall into hands like Vandal Savages or Zooms or even Deadshots? And does somebody like Deadshot deserve it? And that's where Bronze Tiger comes in. Somebody who doesn't really feel he deserves it. Despite the fact that he is the most repentant one of everybody, he still feels like he needs to face and either earn the forgiveness that would get him into heaven or not. That a get out of jail or get out of hell free card is not on the books for someone like him. And this is what I'm talking about with mature content. Now there's conversations you can have with dozens of different people, dozens of different opinions, and really get into the meat of what all that means, what that would be worth. It also adds another level to this movie because now Amanda Waller can't just blow somebody's head off. If Harley Quinn has the card and she doesn't want to give it up, she can't blow Harley Quinn's head off because Harley Quinn has the card that's going to uh, not really keep her alive. I mean, she's still dead, but now she gets to go straight to heaven. And now Waller can't. And the reason Waller wants it is because she is sick. It doesn't tell you what cancer or virus or what, but she's sick and she's dying. So she wants that card because, you know, nobody really wants to face the consequences of their actions, generally speaking. Vandal Savage wants it, even though he is invulnerable, he's not immortal. Or he's immortal, but he's not invulnerable. I forget exactly how it goes. Anyways, he won't age and die. He won't get sick and die, but he can be killed. Beheading, head blown off, that kind of stuff will still kill him. So he wants it so that nobody can kill him. Because if nobody kills him, he won't ever die. But if they do kill him, then... And he's been alive since, if you don't know him, he's been alive since the days of the cavemen. And has been one of the brutal... He's been Genghis Khan. He's been several other warriors throughout time. And has, literally more blood on his hand than any 40 characters in the DC universe combined. So he really wants to skip hell if he can also. And, that also, I kind of jumped over it when I asked the question. The other question is, if the devil created the card or somebody else with magical powers, who's to say God will honor it? It just adds a lot of interesting conversation. But that's the other thing is now, as the card is flying from hand to hand to hand, everybody has to think. They can't use blunt force, guns, knives, and weapons to kill the opponent because whoever has that card has to be subdued and the card relieved of them. And so it adds a whole nother level than just shooting and stabbing and all that nonsense to the climax. It makes the climax a much more powerful ending than your typical action ending. And I will say this, even now, without spoiling the ending for everybody else and anybody that stayed this far, I still won't tell you how it ends or anything, but I will tell you that I personally was extremely satisfied. It was a very good ending to the movie, which alone elevates the film. A good ending can elevate any movie, book, story, whatever, from mediocre, average, okay, to, oh, that was pretty good. If you can stick the landing, you make a bigger fan of me. And in my opinion, they really stuck the ending on this. I really like the ending of this movie. So that's my review. Hopefully this one works. We'll find out. And I upload it. Excuse me. And again, I hope that gentleman is around to hear this one. And if anybody else has requested anything, I know a couple of you have, this will hopefully buy me a little patience on your part, and I will get to what you asked me for also. So thank you for watching.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.